I thought providing money was enough. An old age regret. An American life story. Narrated by Rick Dawson, age 63, Columbus, Ohio. Part 1. The Quiet House. Every morning at 5:14 a.m., I open my eyes. Not because of an alarm. Since I retired, I haven't used an alarm for 3 years. My body wakes up biologically. 40 years of waking up before sunrise has created an irreversible habit within me, like a machine someone forgot to turn off. So I lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the house breathe. And this house breathes. The radiator clicks. The refrigerator hums. The floor settles and groans as if it were tired. But no one is talking. No one is calling from the hallway. No one is fighting over the bathroom. No one is dropping a bowl of cornflakes into the sink. There is only me and the sounds a house makes when it has forgotten the sound of a family. I live alone now. That sentence used to scare me when I was younger. I'd hear old men say it at barber shops or church or the hardware store, and I'd think, God, that's sad. That won't be me. I've got a wife, I've got 2 kids, I've got a house full of people. That'll never be me. But here I am, 63 years old, sitting in a 4-bedroom house in Columbus, Ohio, with nobody in it but me and whatever ghosts I've earned. Karen, that's my ex-wife. She's in Phoenix now, has been for 7 years. She moved there after the divorce, said she needed sun, said she needed warmth, but I think what she really needed was distance. Distance from me, from this house, from whatever was left of us. I don't blame her, not anymore. I used to, sure. For a long time I blamed her, told myself she gave up, she quit, she didn't fight hard enough. But that was just my pride talking. The truth is, she fought for years. She fought longer than I deserved. I was just too busy to notice. My son Tyler, he's 34 now, lives in Seattle, works in tech, something with software, something I don't fully understand. We talk maybe once a month, sometimes less, short calls, surface-level stuff. How's work, Dad? Fine. How's the weather? Cold. You eating okay? Yeah. That's it. That's the whole conversation. 2 strangers pretending they're father and son, and every time I hang up, I sit in this chair and I feel something heavy drop in my chest. Not anger, not sadness exactly. Something worse, the feeling that I earned this distance. That I built it, brick by brick, year after year, without even knowing. My daughter, Megan, she's 31, lives in Brooklyn. She's a photographer, a good one too. I've seen her work online, portraits of people in doorways, old couples holding hands, children laughing. She sees things other people walk past. She got that from her mother. She didn't get it from me. I was never still enough to notice anything. Megan and I don't talk much. A text on my birthday, a short email at Christmas. That's about it. There's no fight between us, no blow-up, no dramatic scene where she slammed a door and said she never wanted to see me again. That would almost be easier, actually. At least anger means someone still cares. What we have is worse. We have nothing. A polite, quiet nothing. Like 2 people who used to live in the same house and now just exist on the same planet. If I could go back, God, if I could go back, I wouldn't change the big things. I wouldn't move to a different city or pick a different career or marry a different woman. I'd change the small things. I'd come home earlier. I'd sit on the floor. I'd put the phone down. I'd say yes when my daughter asked me to play. That's what haunts me. Not the things I did wrong, the things I didn't do at all. Every morning after the coffee is done and the house is still and the sun starts pushing through the kitchen window, I sit in this chair. Same chair, same spot, same view. And I let the memories come. I don't fight them anymore. I used to. I used to stay busy just to keep them quiet. But you can't outrun your own mind forever. Eventually the running stops and the remembering begins. And the remembering, that's the real cost of getting old. Not the knees, not the back, not the eyes going blurry. It's the movie in your head that plays whether you want it to or not. And it never shows you the victories, never shows you the promotions or the raises or the corner office. It shows you the things you missed, the faces you looked past, the voices you didn't hear because you were too important, too busy, too convinced that you were building something that mattered. I was building something, all right. I was building an empty house. Let me tell you how. Part 2. The choice. I grew up poor. Not, we didn't have cable TV poor. I mean real poor. Government cheese poor. Holes in your shoes in February poor. My father worked at a meatpacking plant in Zanesville, Ohio, 6 days a week, came home smelling like blood and bleach, and still couldn't keep the lights on some months. My mother cleaned houses for rich women on the east side of town. I remember riding in the back of her car, watching her carry buckets and mops into homes that had more bathrooms than we had rooms. I swore on everything I had, that my kids would never live like that. That promise became the engine of my whole life. Every decision I made, every sacrifice, every late night, every missed dinner, I traced it back to that promise. I will not be my father. My kids will have more. My family will never worry about money. It sounded noble. It felt noble. And for a long time, it was enough to keep me from seeing what I was actually doing. I met Karen in 1987. She was working at a bookstore near Ohio State, and I walked in looking for a birthday gift for my mother. She had this way of smiling that made you feel like you'd known her for years. We talked for 40 minutes. I forgot to buy the book. We got married in 1989. Small wedding, backyard ceremony. We had nothing, rented a tiny apartment on the north side of Columbus. Cockroaches in the kitchen, a mattress on the floor, for the first 3 months. But we were happy. We had this stupid, beautiful young feeling that everything was ahead of us. I was working at a logistics company then. Entry-level stuff, loading schedules, filing paperwork, answering phones. But I was hungry. That's the word everyone used. Rick's hungry. Rick's a go-getter. Rick's the first one in, last one out. And they were right. I was. Because every time I closed my eyes, I saw my father's hands, cracked and red and tired. And I told myself, not me, not my kids, never. Tyler was born in 1991, Megan in 1994, and something shifted the moment I held each of them. The hunger got louder. The fear got sharper. Now, it wasn't just about me. Now there were 2 little people depending on me, needing me to be strong, needing me to provide. And I took that word, provide, and I made it the center of everything. Provide. That was my religion. By 1996, I'd moved up. Regional operations manager. Good title. Better paycheck. Company car. We bought a house. A real house. 4 bedrooms, a yard, a garage. Karen cried when we signed the papers. I remember thinking, this is it. This is what I promised. I'm doing it. I'm breaking the cycle. But here's the thing about ambition. When it's fueled by fear, it doesn't have a finish line. There's no point where you say, okay, this is enough. The goalpost keeps moving. You get the house and you want the bigger house. You get the title and you want the higher title. You get the salary and you start comparing it to someone else's salary. It's a sickness dressed up as success, and America rewards it. Oh, how America rewards it. They clap for you. They promote you. They put your picture on the wall, and you think you're winning. The turning point. The real one, the one I can look back on now and say that's where I lost them, was 1998. Tyler was 7. Megan was 4. I got offered a position as VP of operations for the entire Midwest division, corner office, 6-figure salary, stock options, the whole package. But it meant travel, a lot of travel. 3, sometimes 4 days a week on the road. Hotels, airports, conference rooms in cities I can't even remember now. Karen sat me down the night I got the offer. Kids were in bed. She had that look, the one where she's already figured out what you're going to say and she's preparing herself for it. Rick, she said, the kids are little. They need you here. I said all the things men like me say. It's just for a few years. Once I'm established, I can pull back. This is for us. This is for them. Think about college funds. Think about vacations. Think about security. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said something I didn't understand until 20 years later. She said, they don't need security, Rick. They need you. There's a difference. I took the job. Of course I took the job. Because in my mind, being a good father meant providing. It meant money. It meant never worrying about the electric bill. It meant name-brand shoes and summer camps and college savings accounts. I thought love was a paycheck. I thought showing up meant writing checks. I thought I was doing the hard thing, the brave thing, the thing my father couldn't do. But my father, with his cracked hands and his 60-hour weeks at the meatpacking plant, at least he was home for dinner. At least he watched me play baseball on Saturdays. At least he was there. I wasn't. And I didn't even realize what I was choosing until it was too late to unchoose it. Part 3. The Cost. The years between 1998 and 2010, those are the years I lost. I say lost like they disappeared, like someone stole them, but nobody stole them. I gave them away. I handed them over, willingly, eagerly, to conference calls, polls, and quarterly reports and airport lounges and hotel rooms that all looked the same. I gave my best hours to people whose last names I can't remember and saved my worst hours, the tired, distracted, half-asleep scraps, for the people who loved me most. From the outside, it looked like I was winning. Regional VP by 40. Senior VP by 45. I had the house, the car, the retirement portfolio, the whole American dream, framed and mounted on the wall. People said my name with respect. My boss shook my hand at every company dinner. Colleagues asked for my advice. I was important. Or at least I thought I was. But inside that house, the big, beautiful house I'd worked so hard to buy, something was dying. Slowly, quietly, the way a plant dies when you forget to water it. Not all at once, just a little more brown each day, a little more wilted, until one morning you look at it and realize it's been dead for weeks and you just didn't notice. Tyler played Little League. I made it to maybe 4 games his entire career, 4 out of dozens. And when I did show up, I was on my phone, standing behind the bleachers, one eye on the field, one hand on my BlackBerry, whispering into the phone about shipping delays in Milwaukee, while my son stood at the plate, squinting into the sun, looking for me in the crowd. He stopped looking after a while. They all stopped looking eventually. Megan had this thing every Friday. Art class at the community center. She'd come home with paintings, watercolors, little crayon masterpieces. She'd hold them up with both hands and say, "Look, Daddy, look what I made." And I'd glance up from my laptop and say, "That's great, sweetheart. Put it on the fridge." I never actually looked, not really. I saw shapes and colors and I said the words, but I never stopped, never knelt down, never held the painting in my hands and asked her to tell me about it. I never said, "What's this part? Why did you use blue here? Tell me the story." She was offering me her whole world, and I treated it like a distraction. Karen tried. Lord, she tried. She left notes on my briefcase. "Tyler's concert is Thursday at 7, please." She put events on my calendar, marked them in red, put little stars next to them. She'd call me at the office and say, "Dinner's at 6, just be here." And I'd say, "I'll try, honey. Things are crazy right now." Things were always crazy. There was always one more meeting, one more fire to put out, one more reason why tonight wasn't possible, but next week would be better. Next week. I lived my whole family life in next week. And Karen, patient, warm, steady Karen, started to go quiet. Not angry quiet, that I could have handled. Angry is loud. Angry fights. Angry still cares. This was something else. This was a woman slowly accepting that the man she married was gone, replaced by a stranger in a nice suit who sometimes slept in the same bed. We stopped talking. Not officially, not dramatically. We just ran out of things to say. Our conversations became logistics. Who's picking up the kids? When's the plumber coming? Did you pay the electric bill? We were roommates, co-managers of a household. Nothing more. I told myself it was normal. Every marriage goes through phases. We're fine, we're stable, we have a nice life. But nice is not the same as alive. Stable is not the same as loved. And I was too proud, too stubborn, too wrapped up in my own importance to see the difference. The kids grew up in that silence. They absorbed it. Tyler became quiet, self-reliant. The kind of kid who learned early that Dad wasn't coming. So he stopped asking. He did his homework alone, fixed his own bike, taught himself to shave by watching videos. I found that out years later, and it nearly broke me. My son learned to shave from a stranger on the internet because his father was in a hotel in Indianapolis arguing about supply chain metrics. Megan went the other way. She became loud, dramatic, desperate for attention. She acted out in school, dyed her hair strange colors, picked fights with Karen. I'd come home on Friday nights, and Karen would be exhausted, eyes red, voice hoarse, and she'd say, "Your daughter needs you, Rick." And I'd sit on the couch, still in my suit, still checking emails, and I'd call Megan downstairs and say, "Hey, your mom says you've been giving her trouble. Cut it out, okay?" That was my parenting. Cut it out. Like she was a machine with a loose wire, and all I had to do was tell her to stop malfunctioning. I never asked why. I never sat with her. I never said, "What's wrong? Talk to me. I'm here." I wasn't here. That was the whole problem. There was one night, I must have been 46, 47. I came home late from a business trip. Red-eye flight landed at midnight, drove home in the dark. The house was quiet. I walked upstairs, still carrying my bag, and I stopped outside Megan's room. The door was open a crack. The hallway light fell across her bed, and I could see she was asleep, curled up with her knees to her chest, headphones still on, sketchbook open next to her pillow. She'd been drawing, waiting up maybe. I don't know, I stood in that doorway for a long time. I don't know how long. Minutes, and then something inside me cracked. Just a little. Not enough to change. Not enough to wake me up, just enough to hurt. I thought, I don't know this girl. My own daughter, sleeping 10 feet away from me, and I don't know what music she listens to, what she draws, what makes her laugh, what scares her at night. I don't know her. And then my phone buzzed. Email from the office. Quarterly review prep. And I turned away from the door and went to my desk. I chose the email. I chose the email over my sleeping daughter. And that's the kind of choice you don't feel in the moment. It's small, painless, nothing. Just a tiny turn of the head, a quiet step in the wrong direction. But you make that choice 1,000 times, and one day you look up and you're standing in an empty house, and you can't figure out how you got here. The money came. By 2008, I was pulling in more than I ever dreamed. We renovated the house, new kitchen, finished basement with a home theater nobody used. I bought Karen a diamond necklace for our anniversary. She thanked me politely, put it in a drawer, and went to bed. I bought Tyler a car for his 16th birthday. Brand new, red, sitting in the driveway with a bow on it. He said thanks, took the keys, and drove to his friend's house. Didn't come back until midnight. I was buying love, and love was not for sale. Every gift was an apology I couldn't say out loud. Every check was a confession. I'm not here, so here's money instead. And for a while the things piled up and the silence grew, and everyone pretended this was a family. And the whole beautiful structure of our life was hollow inside, like a movie set. Nice from the front, nothing behind it. The divorce came in 2012. Tyler was 21, Megan was 18. Karen didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She didn't cry, at least not in front of me. She sat at the kitchen table one Sunday morning and said, very calmly, very softly, "Rick, I've been alone in this marriage for 15 years. I just don't want to be alone anymore." I opened my mouth to argue, to explain, to defend myself, but nothing came out, because she was right. She'd been alone, right next to me, sharing a bed, sharing a house, sharing children, and completely alone. And I had done that, not with cruelty, not with violence, not with any kind of dramatic betrayal, just with absence, just by not being there, just by choosing work over her so many times that she finally stopped counting and started packing. She took almost nothing. A few boxes, some books, her mother's china. Drove away on a Tuesday afternoon while I stood in the driveway and watched her car get smaller until it turned a corner and was gone. The house was so quiet that night. I walked through every room. The kitchen where she used to sing, Tyler's room still full of trophies and baseball caps. Megan's room, walls covered in our work I never really looked at. I stood in each doorway like a tourist in a museum, looking at relics of a life I'd been present for but never actually lived. And that's when the weight of it hit me. Not as a thought, not as a realization, as a feeling, physical, like something heavy dropped from my chest into my stomach and stayed there. A feeling that has never fully left. I sat on the edge of my bed that night, still in my work clothes, shoes still on, and I thought I had everything. A wife who loved me, 2 healthy kids, a warm house, a real family, and I traded it all for a title on a business card that nobody will remember. Part 4. The realization. The years after the divorce were strange. The house didn't change, but I did. Or maybe I didn't change. Maybe I just finally held still long enough to see what had always been true. I kept working. What else was I gonna do? The office was the only place where I still mattered, where people still needed me, where I still had a role. At home, I was nothing. Just a man in a big house with too many rooms and not enough reasons to walk into any of them. So I stayed late, came in early, volunteered for extra projects, worked weekends, the same pattern that destroyed my family. I doubled down on it. Because it was all I knew. It was the only thing I'd ever been good at. But the universe has a way of forcing you to sit down when you won't do it voluntarily. In 2016, I had a heart attack. Mild, the doctors said, a warning shot. I was in the hospital for 4 days. Karen sent flowers from Phoenix. Tyler called once, asked if I was okay. Megan didn't call. She texted Karen, who told me later. Megan said, "I hope he's okay." Not to me. About me. Like I was a distant relative. I lay in that hospital bed with tubes in my arm, and I waited. I waited for my kids to come. I waited for someone to walk through that door and sit beside me and hold my hand and say, "Dad, we were so scared." Nobody came, and I realized, slowly, painfully, that I had no right to expect them to. You can't be absent for 20 years and then expect people to show up for you. Love is not a bank account. You can't deposit nothing for decades and then try to make a withdrawal. I came home from the hospital and retired early, 57 years old. The company gave me a plaque and a handshake and a retirement dinner at a steakhouse, where people I barely knew said nice things about me and gave me a watch. A watch. As if time was something I needed more of. As if I hadn't already wasted the only time that mattered. The first few weeks of retirement were fine. Quiet, but fine. But then the quiet started to press in. Without work to fill the hours, I had nothing between me and my own thoughts. And my thoughts were not kind. They came at night mostly. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, the memories would surface like bubbles from the bottom of a dark lake. Tyler's face at 16, standing in the kitchen saying, "Dad, can we go fishing this weekend, like we used to?" And me saying, "Maybe next weekend, buddy. I've got a conference call Saturday." His face didn't fall. That's the part that kills me. He wasn't surprised. He just nodded and walked away, like he'd already known the answer before he asked. He was just testing, checking to see if anything had changed. Nothing ever changed. Megan at 14, standing in the living room with a canvas she'd painted. A real painting, not a kid's painting. A woman standing in a field of blue flowers, face turned to the sky. Beautiful. Haunting. She held it up and said, "Dad, I want to apply to art school. Will you look at my portfolio?" And I said, "Art school? Meg, that's not practical. What are you going to do with an art degree? Let's talk about something more realistic." I watched her face close like a door. She took the painting to her room and never showed me another one. She went to art school anyway, put herself through it. Loans, part-time jobs, scholarships. Did it all without me. And she's brilliant. I see her work online sometimes. Galleries, magazines, exhibitions. My daughter, the artist, I almost talked out of her dream because I was too afraid of anything I couldn't put a number on. I tried to reconnect. After the heart attack, after the retirement, I started calling more. I sent Tyler an email once. Long rambling, trying to explain. Trying to say I'm sorry without actually saying the words. Because men like me were never taught how to apologize. We were taught to fix things, to push through. Nobody taught us how to sit with someone and say, "I was wrong, I hurt you, I'm sorry." Tyler wrote back 3 days later, short, polite. "Thanks for the email, Dad. I know you did your best." That's what he said. You did your best. And it was kind, it was generous even. But it wasn't forgiveness, it was acceptance. There's a difference. Forgiveness means the wound is healing. Acceptance means the wound is old enough that it stopped hurting. And that's worse because it means they've already moved on. They've already built a life that doesn't include you. And they're fine. They're fine without you. That's the punishment. Not their anger, their indifference. Megan was harder. I called her once about a year after I retired. She picked up, sounded surprised. We talked for 11 minutes, I know because I checked afterward. 11 minutes with my own daughter, and it felt like talking to a stranger at a bus stop. Polite, careful, full of pauses. I asked about her work. She gave short answers. I asked if she was happy. She said, "Yeah, Dad, I'm good. Not I'm happy, just I'm good." And that little word, good, it sat in my chest like a stone. I wanted to say something. I wanted to say, "Meg, I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I didn't look at your paintings. I'm sorry I told you art wasn't practical. I'm sorry I missed your childhood and I can't get it back and it's the thing I regret most in this world." But I didn't say any of that. I said, "Well, that's great. I'm glad you're good." And she said, "Thanks, Dad." And we hung up, and I sat in the kitchen for a long time, phone still in my hand, and I thought about all the things I should have said and didn't. All the things I should have said 20 years ago and didn't. My mother passed away in 2018. Her funeral was small. Karen came, which was kind of her. Tyler came from Seattle. Megan came from Brooklyn. It was the first time all four of us had been in the same room in 6 years. We stood around the casket, and I looked at my children, grown, beautiful, strangers, and I wanted to put my arms around them and pull them close and say, "I'm still here. I'm still your father. Please don't forget me." But we just stood there, polite distance, appropriate sadness, like colleagues at a company funeral. After the service, we went to a diner my mother used to take us to. We sat in a booth and ordered coffee and nobody knew what to say. Tyler checked his phone. Megan looked out the window, and I sat there, this 60-year-old man at a table with the three people who should matter most to him, and I felt more alone than I've ever felt in my life. Megan left first, hugged me at the door. Quick, light, the kind of hug you give someone you're not sure you'll see again. Tyler shook my hand. My own son shook my hand like I was a business associate, and I drove home alone, same roads I'd driven 1,000 times, and I thought, who will come to my funeral? Who will stand at my casket and say, "He was a good father"? Nobody, because I wasn't. That question, who will remember me? It lives in me now. It's the first thing I think about in the morning and the last thing I think about at night. Not dying. I'm not afraid of dying. Death is just a door. What terrifies me is being forgotten. Being the old man in the big house that nobody visits. Being a name on a headstone that my grandchildren, if I ever have any, drive past without stopping. I had a neighbor, Bill, passed away last spring. Lived alone, like me. They found him after 4 days. Someone from the post office noticed the mail piling up. Not a phone call from a loved one. A mailman. I went to his funeral, 9 people, and I sat in the back row and cried. Not for Bill, for myself, because I saw my future in that half-empty church. Part 5. The lesson. So here I am, 63 years old, sitting in this chair by this window, same cup of coffee, same view of a street that doesn't know my name, and I'm talking to you, whoever you are, wherever you are, because maybe, just maybe, my wreckage can be your warning. I'm not going to tell you how to live. I've lost that right. A man who missed his own children's childhood doesn't get to stand on a stage and preach about priorities. But I can tell you what I'd do differently. And maybe that's worth something. Maybe hearing one old man's quiet confession in Ohio can save you a few decades of the same mistake. Here it is. Here's what I know now that I didn't know then. Your children don't need your money. They need your presence. They need you on the floor, playing the stupid game, making the silly voices, pretending the couch is a pirate ship for the 900th time. They need you at the table, not checking your phone, not half listening while you plan tomorrow's meeting in your head. They need you there. Fully there. Body and mind in the same room at the same time. I gave my kids everything except myself. And everything except yourself is actually nothing. Because kids don't remember the size of the house. They don't remember the brand of their shoes. They don't remember the balance of the college fund. They remember if you showed up. They remember if you listened. They remember if you stayed. Tyler doesn't remember the car I bought him. I asked him once, a few years ago, "Hey, remember that red car I got you for your 16th? He said, "Oh yeah, sure." Like I'd asked him about a shirt he used to own. But you know what he does remember? He told me this, in one of our rare, honest moments. He remembers one Saturday when he was about 9. I'd taken the day off. Rare, almost unheard of. And we went to the river to skip stones. That's it. No money spent. No big event. Just me and him and a handful of flat rocks and a Saturday afternoon. He said it was the best day of his childhood. One day, One day out of thousands. That's what survived. Not the car, not the house, not the college money. A handful of rocks and a quiet afternoon with his father. When he told me that, I had to leave the room. I went into the bathroom and I gripped the sink and I let myself feel the full weight of what I'd done. All those years of working, striving, earning, climbing. And the only thing my son treasures from his whole childhood is one afternoon where I just showed up and threw rocks with him. That's the lesson. That's the whole thing. Show up. That's it. Not provide, not sacrifice, not grind. Show up. Be in the room. Be in the moment. Be with the people who love you while they still want you there. Because that window closes. Oh God, it closes. And once it's shut, you can stand outside knocking forever and nobody will answer. I watch young fathers sometimes. At the grocery store, at the park, I see them on their phones while their kids tug at their sleeves. I see them saying, "Not now, buddy, daddy's busy." And I want to grab them. I want to say, look at your child. This moment, this ordinary, boring, inconvenient moment. This is the one they'll remember. This is the one you'll wish you could have back when you're 63 and sitting alone in a house that echoes. But I don't say anything, because who am I? Just an old man with regret in his eyes. Your career will replace you. I gave 40 years to that company, and you know what happened when I left? They posted my job on a Monday. By the next month, someone else was sitting in my chair, using my desk, parking in my spot. 40 years of loyalty, of late nights, of missed birthdays, and they replaced me in 3 weeks. But your family won't replace you. Your children will never have another father. The specific, unrepeatable you. The one who knows how your daughter likes her eggs, the one who does the funny voice that makes your son laugh. That version of you is irreplaceable. And every hour you give to the office instead of to them is an hour you're giving to the one place that doesn't need you. I know what you're thinking. But I have to work. I have bills. Yes, you do. I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying the difference between a good life and a wasted one isn't about how much you work. It's about what you're present for when you're not working. Come home and be home, not half home. Not body in the living room, but mind at the office home. Really home. Put the phone in a drawer, sit on the floor, ask your kid what happened at school and actually listen. It will be boring. They'll talk about some kid named Marcus who burped at lunch. They'll tell you about a crayon that broke. It will be the most mundane, beautiful stuff you'll ever hear. And one day, sooner than you think, they'll stop telling you. And you'll give anything to hear about Marcus and the broken crayon one more time. I'd give everything I own for one more boring Tuesday with my kids, one more night of homework at the kitchen table, one more bedtime story where I did all the voices, one more school play where I sat in the front row and my daughter looked into the audience and found my face and smiled. I'd trade every dollar, every promotion, every handshake, every plaque on every wall for that. But I can't. That's the thing about time. It's the one thing you can never buy back. You can earn more money, you can get a new car, a new house, a new career, but you can't get back a single Tuesday night in 2003 when your son wanted to show you his science project and you said, "Later, buddy, later." That word again, the cruelest word in the English language. So here's my last thought, and then I'll let you go, because I've taken enough of your time, and time, as you now know, is the only thing that matters. Don't wait. Whatever you're postponing, whatever you're telling yourself you'll do when things slow down, things don't slow down. They speed up. You blink and your kids are 5. You blink again and they're 15. One more blink and they're gone, living their own lives, and you're sitting in a chair by a window, talking to nobody, wondering how it happened so fast. Go home early tonight. I mean it. Leave the extra email for tomorrow. Skip the optional meeting. Walk through your front door while there's still light outside and find your people, whoever they are, your kids, your partner, your parents, and sit with them. Don't fix anything. Don't teach anything. Don't plan anything. Just be there. Look at them. Listen to them. Let them bore you with their little stories about their little days. Let them climb on you, interrupt you, need you, because one day they won't need you anymore. And that day comes faster than any deadline you've ever faced. I thought providing money was enough. I thought a full refrigerator and a paid mortgage meant I was a good father. I thought sacrifice meant working until my body broke, not knowing that the real sacrifice, the one that actually costs you something, is putting down your pride, putting down your phone, putting down your briefcase, and picking up your child. That's the sacrifice. Being present, being inconvenienced, being bored sometimes, and being there anyway. I failed that test. Every day for 20 years I failed it, and I sit here now in this quiet house with the consequences of that failure all around me. The empty rooms, the silent phone, the children who grew up without me and learned, as children do, to live without me. If there's any mercy in this life, it's that my story can still be useful, not to me. For me, it's too late. The road behind me is long, and the road ahead is short, and there's no going back to fix what I broke. But for you, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's some ordinary day that doesn't feel important. And your kid is in the next room, and you still have time. Please, don't waste it the way I did. The clock is ticking, but it's not ticking for me anymore. It's ticking for you, and every tick is a choice. Your desk or your daughter, your phone or your son, your ambition or your life. Choose your life, because I chose my career, and my career gave me a retirement dinner and a watch. My family would have given me everything, and I never let them. The coffee's cold now. The sun's moved past the window. The house is still quiet, but I said what I needed to say. That's enough for today. That's enough.